नमो नमस्ते गुरवे महात्मने विमुक्तसंगाय सदुत्तमाय नित्याद्वयानन्दरसस्वरूपिणे भूम्ने सदा पारदयां बुधाम्ने नमस्ते नमस्ते विभो विश्वमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते चिदानन्दमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते तपोयोगगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रुतिज्ञानगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते तपोयोगगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रुतिज्ञानगम्य। हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय गुरु। We'll start with the Shanti mantra of Mundakumanesha. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः।
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः।
भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः।
भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः।
स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः।
स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः।
व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः।
व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः।
स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः।
स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः।
स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः।
स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः।
स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः।
स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः।
स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु।
स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
So we will repeat chanting of the two verses, the first two of the section, that is 3.1.1 and 3.1.2, which we did in the last session. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Tayoranyah pippalam sadvatti.
Tayoranyah pippalam swadvatti.
Anashnananyo abhichakashiti.
Anashnananyo abhichakashiti.
Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno.
Samane vrikshe
Anishaya shochati muhyamanaha.
Anishaya shochati muhyamanaha.
Jushtam yada pasyatyanyamisham.
Jushtam yada pasyatyanyamisham.
Asya mahimanamiti vitashokaha.
Asya mahimanamiti vitashokaha.
I have explained in great detail, but still some words to be repeated, some ideas to be further clarified. The illustration is of the two birds looking alike, of the same feather, sitting on the same tree. But one of them is sitting on the top, not eating, not attracted by any fruits, either sweet or sour or bitter, looking with a free vision, looking around. The other bird, which is always restless, attracted by the sweet fruits or repelled by the bitter fruits. Not only that, as I explained the other day, when we are attracted, we overeat. And what is the result of overeating? We have to suffer. It is when we say eat, unlimited times I said it is not only ahara with the mouth. It is true of everything. We are overeating with all the indriyas. And the result is, as the Kathopanishad had said clearly, Nachiketa mentioned, that they deplete the indriyas, the power of the indriyas. So that is what the fate is. But we cannot say that we don't know of our inmost self. Everybody knows about it. Because the self comes first. In everything, we cannot have any experience without the first appearance of the I. You think about it. No experience can be there. Even just after coming back to the awareness also we think that I was sleeping, I am dreaming, or I am awake, or whatever. Without I, there cannot be any experience at all in the worldly sense. So, it is the lower bird, it is not that he knew about the other bird. Sometimes he was looking and he had a special attraction for the other bird also. Because our real self, our inmost presence is always calling us back. I explained very clearly that we are born with an insufficiency. That is why we always look for happiness. And all that we do is because of a delusion that something from the world will make us happy. All the work we do, desire-motivated activities, it is all with the delusion that by doing that we will gain something which will make us happy. This is the delusion we are suffering from. So, the inmost presence, it goes on calling us that the real happiness, the bliss, it is your birthright, it is our birthright. It is the nature of ourself, our real identity. But we don't heed that call and we run away from our inmost presence, running around looking for something different from I. We are not happy going into the I. Not happy means we don't know actually. So we think that something else other than me will make me happy. And we run after many things in the world. The result is not fulfillment, that we have to do the vichara and understand. Now this bird also was doing like that. Many times it thought of going up to the other bird, seeing that what makes him so poised, unaffected by anything, not attracted by so many luscious fruits. How can he remain like that, contented? But on the way of reaching that, again many attractions come and it loses its path and gets again lost in the sense enjoyments, the worldly enjoyments. So the Upanishad, as I said, after presenting the truth, Brahman, etc., they are coming to the sadhana we have to do. By projecting this illustration, they are trying to tell us that we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to run after Brahman in the yonder sky. We don't have to look for God anywhere outside. It is right within, present as our real identity. But it is for us to withdraw from our outgoing tendencies. The moment we come back to ourselves, we discover that blissfulness is our nature. So here in the example, they are projecting in a manner which will be easy for the initial seekers to understand. As we progress, we will understand deeper and deeper. You will find in the Shankara Bhashya or many other cases, there are a lot of arguments are given about it. Dvaita and Advaita argument. That this is supporting Dvaita, this is not supporting Advaita. About first quite a few verses, all these are there. We don't have to go after those arguments at all. It is the experiential discovery of ourself. Arguments cannot take us there, because arguments are all within the ken of duality. I have told so many times, I hope you have understood also. Why do we look for God? Because we find the whole world is running by causal chain. That everything in this world is cause and is bound by the cause and effect law. So whatever we are not able to see the cause, we try to find out the cause or assume some cause behind it. That is why you will find that in the Vedic, the old era, that ritualistic era, they used to imagine a God behind all the natural forces. That is the God of water, the God of air, the God of fire, like that. It is true in a way that they had conceived of a cosmic personality behind all the fragmented powers we see in the world. There is some great insight in that. But the fact is that we always try to look for a cause for certain things because this world is running by causality. But when we are trying to go to that ultimate truth, then causality cannot take us there. By definition, suppose the ultimate truth is the cause. Suppose Brahman, we say, is the cause of the whole world. Then naturally it is related by causality. Brahman is the cause of the world, that world is the effect and Brahman is the cause. So naturally we will ask then, what has caused Brahman? There is something else which has caused Brahman. And that the causal logic is such that it will go ad infinitum. You can go to any extent, it will never end. So truly speaking, we have to dwell in this causal logic and understand with full conviction that this causality cannot take us to the ultimate truth by definition itself, because ultimate truth is beyond the duality. So the causality can tell us that it is transcendental, it transcends the usual causal laws of the universe. And then we have to follow the Mahatmas who have already paved our path by showing us how to attain it. So whenever the tarka, the argument is given the prominent position, the Guru comes and says that tarka cannot take you there. The Shastras also come in and tell us repeatedly But as long as we are not aware of the reality, these things will not strike us. In Kathopanishad, I pointed out so many times that Naisha Tarkena Matirapaneya, that how Yamaraja, being the guru there, is telling Nachiketa that Nachiketa, you are Satyadhriti, you have a great mind you have got, who is always put the mind, your mind is always given to truth. But this mind, you should not lose this attitude by resorting to arguments. Because it happens, those who are scholarly, given to scholarly arguments, they get lost in the argument and try to prove this or that, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, this, that. There are so many philosophies. It is not needed. We have to understand that all these philosophies are based on certain assumed or postulate, some assumed logic, some code of logic, and that cannot take us to a place which is beyond duality. It cannot take us to the oneness, the universal transcendental oneness, where there cannot be any two or many. So here, if we are attentive, then we will see the words also how they express. He says that Sayuja Sakhaya, Sayuja, actually it is, I told you that it is Arsha Prayoga, it should be Sayujau Sakhayau, but the rishis have expressed the Upanishads, the truth. So we go by that, we don't follow the grammar there. Where the grammar is violated, we follow this as Arsha Prayoga. That means it has been used by the rishis. Now this Sayuja means actually they are absolutely connected, self-same. That is, there is no difference between the two. The two birds, there is no difference at all. How does it apply to ourselves? That I we are thinking of, generally in our Shastras it is referred to as Jivatma, Jivatma. The fragmented Jivatma means Atma restricted to the body mind limitation. My Jivatma is different from others' Jivatma. But by Atma we don't mean that. Atma means Atati Vyapnoti iti Atma, means which is all pervading everywhere. Atma is not different from Brahman also. Repeatedly it has been told. Atma, Paramatma, Brahman, all are ultimately same. Now, what is happening is their characteristics, they are identical. Why? Because both are Chetana Dharma. Chetana Dharma means in the nature of consciousness. What is giving consciousness to our body? That when the ultimate consciousness, it manifests with the association of a body, then that body attains a sort of a consciousness. The nearest I can give you the example which I have given so many times, the mirror example, that the light is coming from the top and you can put millions of mirrors in that light, and at different angles the reflected light from the mirror, with that you can see anything you like. That is the original light reflected by the mirror, you have the reflected beam, you can focus it on anywhere, you will see whatever you want to see. And to some extent that reflected light will depend on the mirror. Suppose the mirror is a colored mirror, say red mirror, then the reflected light will be red. If it is a green mirror, the reflected light will be green. So when the reflected light is coming from the mirror, it is taking the properties of the mirror. If the mirror is distorted, the surface is not proper, the reflected beam also will be changing correspondingly. Now you need not think of only light. Suppose the mirror has got 5 senses. Not only the reflectance of the light, but it can do with that sound, it has got 5 senses. So all those senses are animated with the original light, the consciousness, and they will show according to the 5 senses. Suppose we did not have 5 senses, but we had 7. The 2 additional senses. say electrical sense, magnetic sense, we can think of many senses. Then our world will look different. Forget about 7 senses. Suppose our eyes, which sensitivity of which is very, very limited to a very small section of the spectrum. Suppose the eye develops sensitivity to a wide range of spectrum, the world will look different. Suppose the eye develops the microscopic vision, then all of you will look not like as you are looking, all your makeup and everything will have no meaning at all. You will all become a assembly of molecules, or you can say electron, proton, or even not that, just the probability waves. As far as you know the science of it, you can think of it. The microscopic vision will be completely changing the world. So because we have 5 senses with certain limited range of perception, our world is like this. Now, the mirror also is coloring the world by its reflected beam. Now, if we ask that is it that the light is originating from the mirror? It's not. The light is coming and the same light is being reflected by different mirrors. The same light is coming and it is reflected in different angles by the different mirrors. And it is accordingly showing a different world also. Now, if it is told, the mirror is told that no, this is not limited, this light with which you are seeing is not limited to you. And that is not the real light. You are thinking that this light is only originating from the mirror. That is what I am. I am limited. And the other mirror is different from me. The another mirror is different from me. But the mirror identity is not your own identity. Own identity means mirror is a rigid object. It's just an inert object. The real identity, which is knowing anything, is that light. That is the consciousness we are saying now. Don't forget the illustration. We are thinking of the light in the mirror and trying to understand what is the consciousness. The conscious part is not the mirror. The mirror is only inert. But it is manifesting the consciousness according to its own way and giving a picture of the world. So if it is told that the light, the consciousness is not your real identity, the real identity is universal, well, you may accept it as an initial truth. It is so. But how will you know? When the mind starts feeling that I must know what is my real identity, then what will you do? That somebody has told you that the real identity is not this reflected beam. You are seeing everything with this reflected beam, but the real identity is right within you as your own identity, as your I within. Then what will you do? With the same awareness with which you are seeing the world, you will try to see that I, will you not? When we are told that the Atma or Brahman or God is within us, then what will we do? We will stop looking outside and look within to discover God there, discover Brahman there, discover Atma there. With what? With the awareness we have, with the consciousness. So when we look inside, we find the fallacy that, oh, it is not. That is the Shastras telling us repeatedly, but we miss all these points when we do the sadhana. They are telling us repeatedly that it is not different from me. And as long as I am trying to find that Atma, we are trying to discover it as different from me. That very effort to discover the Atma as different from me is inhibiting my sadhana, is not allowing me to realize the self. Because it is making me small, that still I am looking for something different from me. Initially, what was the problem? I was looking for something different from me in the world, from the world, which will make me happy. Now what am I doing? Somebody has told me that the Atma is the center of bliss, and I want to realize the Atma, to realize the blissfulness of the Atma and the Atma. And for that, I am not looking at the world now, but I am looking within. But still the same disease is haunting us, that I am looking for something different from me. So until this effort to discover something different from me goes, we will not be successful. When we leave all our effort, as we have explained in Kathopanishad, Yada panchavatishthante jnanani manasasa buddhishchana vicheshtate tamahu paramam gatim. Then the Atma reveals itself. That is what they are trying to say, that what is hindering us from discovering this real identity, this soul or Atma. It is the attraction and repulsion of the world, clinging to what I like and hating what I dislike. And that is always taking us away from the bird, taking the bird away from meeting its own real identity. So each word each illustration, we have to take it to the depth as much as you can to get the real truth. Absorb the real truth. So here, samanam riksham parishasvajate. They are holding on to the same vriksha. Because we cannot have any experience outside our body-mind personality. As the egoistic I experience now I am having, and when the universal Lord experience also, they are all on the same tree. Means it all depends on the bodily existence. Here itself it has to happen. Anashnananyu abhichakashiti. The other day also I have explained this word they have used, abhichakashiti. Actually they could have said pashyati. The other bird is also only seeing, but not running after any fruits. But why have they used the word abhichakashiti? I explained that abhichaksha, this means that a graceful, impersonal vision, which is not looking at anything specifically. Because why do we always our vision is not having, we are not having a free vision. Because constantly we are having bhoga pravritti. Whenever we are, suppose a fruit you are looking at, immediately you will think that how is this fruit, how is its taste, when shall I eat, and all that. The bhoga pravritti is associated with that. Even when you are looking at the Guru, you will not look with an impersonal vision. You will think, what is the Guru thinking about me? Is he going to praise me, or is he going to scold me, or whatever. Guru will not scold, but we say scold. Anything we see, a person when we see, you will find that you will immediately start analyzing, is this person good or bad? Good and bad, how will you know? The whole world has good and bad everything. Are we to judge good and bad? But our mind will always go that, oh, he may be a little crafty, I will get into trouble, or something or other. The moment we are seeing something, immediately a judgment is coming depending on what you can gain or lose from that. This is called the bhoga pravritti. So this bhoga-oriented vision, which makes our vision not avichakashiti. We are not having that impersonal vision of Puri Jagannatha. I generally take the example of Jagannatha of Puri. He doesn't have hands, feet, anything. He doesn't do anything. And his eyes also, you will find that we call it Kevali Bhava. That means it's just blank. Not blank, but it's a free expression, not focused on anything. That bhoga pravritti is not there. Ramakrishna Dev used to give one example, that one bird sitting on hatching the egg, it is looking outward. Now that bird, although it is looking outside, but its mind is on the hatching, on the eggs. So in the vision of the birds, that Kevali Bhava will be there. He had told whom I don't remember now that, can you draw a picture for me? And the disciple drew a picture, which is there I think in Ramakrishna Kathamrita. It starts with that sketch, the one bird sitting on the nest hatching. And the look is absolutely Kevali Bhava. So this Abhichaka Shiti is very important. When we are not out to enjoy everything, things will come, things will go. There is no harm in relishing anything. But our mind should not get polluted by that. Our mind should not get narrowed down by that, constricted by that. That is the main thing we have to do. What happens if this lower bird had not been attracted by the fruits? And I created a story last day about it, that it was again caught by the fruits and it was overeating, then it was suffering. All these are not there in the shloka, but it will be like that. Shlokas will not tell us everything. Even the deeper meaning also, that we have to, by our own experience, by our own sadhana, we have to create it. So, what was preventing it from going up towards the bird, which was contented, which was graceful, which was worshipped by everybody because of its unaffectedness? It was unaffected by anything. It was the attraction, repulsion for the worldly things, for the fruits. That is what they are trying to say. So in the next verse they will go further deeper into it. They will say Atmaratihi, Atmakridaha, Atmaratihi. That is a knower, he becomes Atmakridaha, Atmaratihi. Truly speaking, in the sadhana chatushtaya, there is in the 6 kind of treasures, Shatka Sampatti, there is Uparatihi. That means when we withdraw our enjoyment, indulgence from the world, Uparatihi, we withdraw. Truly speaking, this withdrawal is not a forceful withdrawal. Many people do it, there is no harm. But it is not the right process. The right process is to discover the Atmaratihi. When the person discovers that the rati, the enjoyment, the bliss is right within, in his own self, will he look for enjoyment outside? This is such a simple thing. One who has discovered the bliss inside, will he ever look for, if he misses something, if he wants a little more bliss, he will go in again if he wants. He will never run after anything. He discovers that actually the outer objects are not giving me bliss, but they are preventing me from enjoying the bliss. Why? Because they are distracting my mind, taking my mind away from the inmost reality. And because of that distraction, we are not able to enjoy the bliss within. So the desires are not actually making us happy. No desire can make us happy. For a certain time, it appears to be making us happy because by the fulfillment of the desire has subsided. So it is a condition of no desire that is giving us the joy. So once the sadhaka discovers that it is a condition of no desire that is giving me joy, then will he desire anymore? And what will he desire? He will do everything, whatever to be done by the world, but never under the delusion, by doing this I will gain something and that will make me happy. This bird has that delusion. That is why it was not able to come back to its real identity. Now after enough of moving around, finally one day it goes up and finally it discovers that, oh, I was deluded. This is my own self. Actually there are no 2 birds, there is only one bird. The other bird, the distracted bird, the restless bird, was a creation of his own mind. Was a creation of his own mind, of his own desire, ego. When that goes, then he gets unified. That is why it has said Sayuja, that he becomes one with the Paramatma or the Ishvara or the real self, the real universal identity. Then in the next one, so generally in the book you will find it is defined as Jivatma and Paramatma, or Jivatma and Ishvara. Actually Ishvara may lead to a little confusion. Jivatma and Paramatma is the better word. But in English I would prefer to call it our egoistic identity and the real identity. But because both are I, that I we are dealing with, we are behaving with, is the wrong I, is the limited I, is the egoistic I. When we see the truth, that gets dissolved in the real I. Get back to my example. The mirror is trying to look into where from the light is coming. Oh, it is not my light, the origin of light is somewhere else. And when I am referring to that I is that consciousness, is that light, not the mirror, not the inert mirror. So let me look at the I, and how will you look? He knows only to look with the reflected beam. So he will try to move the reflected beam towards from where the light is coming. If he is successful to move it fully perpendicular to the light is coming, then what happens to the reflected light? It gets merged in the real light, in the original light. Each mirror can do it. Again, if one mirror breaks, does anything happen to the original light? Nothing. The reflected beam is no more there. That is what happens when we die. So we have to clearly understand that what we have to dissociate from our consciousness I, that discovering the I depends on sieving out all the adjuncts from the consciousness. That everything that I is revealing, all the revealed things are inert. The revealer only we have to identify. But we cannot generally. Always we are identifying some concept with that. And we think that then if I have known the self, I have known the I, who has revealed it? If that has something else has revealed, then that is the real consciousness, that is the I. The ultimate revealer has to be self-revealing. It cannot be revealed by anything else. So they will use the word, in one or two verses they will use, what is that? Yada pashyate rukmavarnam kartaramesham purusham brahma yonim. Rukmavarnam, like the golden brilliance. Actually it is not a golden brilliance. But it surpasses all other brilliance because we know that the truth is revealed. So it is not like the other lights at all. Here the ajnana is removed by the jnana. This light is the jnana aloka, which removes the ajnana andhakara. Ajnana andhakara, the darkness of ignorance is removed by the light. Many examples we have been quoting also, and many examples are given in the Shastras to give us how this thing happens. For example, we had once discussed about the sphatika, one crystal. Now, there is some hibiscus nearby. You look at the crystal and the crystal appears to be red. Well, we understand that it is the light reflected from the hibiscus which is making the crystal red. But as such, we are seeing the crystal red. When we are seeing the crystal red, has anything happened to the crystal? The moment the other thing is taken away, the crystal takes its own form. Exactly like that, by revealing anything of the world, the consciousness does not undergo any change at all. It takes the qualities of the revealed and appears to be different. So we have to understand, discriminate between what is appearing on and what is the real substratum. I had given another example, that suppose the local station, TV or radio, whatever you may say, the radio waves are coming from there. And we have a small radio set, a transistor, from which we are listening to the program. It is broadcast. Now, if anything happens to the radio set, suppose even the volume potentiometer has gone wrong or something has gone wrong, you have a distorted sound, a noisy sound. Now, can you say that the original electromagnetic waves coming or the broadcast signal from the station is defective? Nothing has happened to that. That is being listened to by all other millions of radios, will be able to pick it up and they are hearing all right. Your radio is not functioning well. It is only because of the property of the radio. And if a simple one circuit gets broken, no more. The songs are no more, they are not being heard anymore. What happened? The radio has died because of malfunction. Nothing has happened to the waves, they are still passing through the radio, still passing through the antenna. Everywhere they are being listened to by the other radios, nothing has happened to it. So any change there, suppose if you want the sound volume to be increased, you increase the volume of the radio. You don't do anything with the original waves coming in. They are the same going everywhere. You change your instrument, you make the change in your instrument, but whatever is projected, the same sound which is being projected, that appears to have undergone a change. Similarly, when the consciousness gets manifested through in the association of various things, it appears like that. It is all like appearance in the, what do you call it now, this three-dimensional cinema? What is it called? The names do not come to mind. Holography. The three-dimensional. It's only a play in the light. Nothing is wrong there. Nothing has gone. Nothing has changed. Even on the film screen also, so many things are happening. The war is taking place. Nothing has happened to the screen. It's a play of light. So all these things we have to repeatedly go into think and get our mind cleansed from its possessiveness, association, wrong identification. We are suffering from that. We don't know. All these things are creating tension in the mind. All the tensions are created by these wrong associations. If that is taken away, then you will find everything moves freely. Guna guneshu vattanta iti mat vattante iti matva na sajjate. No further attachment, as you say, or Sakti, as you say. Nothing is that. No possessiveness, no greed, no rejection also. It's all a play. I use the word phenomenological. Phenomena. It's all a phenomena. There is no special ego associated with anything at all. It will come repeatedly. I will explain further as we go forward. So let us go to the third verse. Three. 3.1.3.
3.1.3.
3. Samane vrikshe purusho. No, this is 2, sorry. This we have done. Yada pashyah pashyate rukma varnam.
Yada pashyah pashyate rukma varnam.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Niranjanah paramam samyamupaiti.
Niranjanah paramam samyamupaiti.
Yada pashyah pashyate rukma varnam.
Yada pashyah pashyate rukma varnam.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Niranjanah paramam samyamupaiti.
Niranjanah paramam samyamupaiti.
See, again, Asha Prayoga, Pashyaha. Pashya means the drashta. They have used the word Pashyaha. Yada Pashyaha Rukma Varnam Kartaram Isham Purusham Brahmayonim Pashyate. Yada Pashyaha drashta Rukma Varnam Kartaram Isham Purusham Brahmayonim Pashyate. Now this pashyate is not that he is seeing with his eyes. In Bhagavad Gita they have used the word ikshate because it's a vision of the buddhi, of the understanding. Pashyate doesn't mean that it is a one day we will see the golden light and he is the Lord appearing before me with thousands of hands and thousands of maybe heads. It's not like that. It's nothing to be seen by the eyes because eyes are limited to the vision of the world, worldly vision, only the material vision. So when he discovers, pashyate means the seer, drashta, he discovers the Purusha. The Purusha, as I said, the Purusha has got, this each word we have to explain. Purusha, I said, it has got 2 meanings. What is that? One is the, as for the other bird, the Jivatma, it is a Purusha is Pure Shete iti Purusha. Or you can say Puri Shete, I think. You can find out. Puri will be, na? Puri Shete iti Purusha. That means one who is in the body. That is what we think about our eye. The same Purusha, another meaning is Purnam Anena Sarvamiti Purusha, by whom everything is filled. That is the universal consciousness, Paramatma or Brahman or Atma also. So, he sees what? Rukma Varnam Kartaram Isham Purusham Brahma Yonim. So naturally here they are not referring to the egoistic I, that here everybody knows. Here Pashyaha is no more the ordinary Manushyaha. He has discovered his real identity. So here naturally the Purusha he is seeing is not the small Purusha. It is the Purnam Anena Sarvamiti Purusha. That is his real identity. What is that? His Paripurna Swarupaha. You understand? Paripurna Swarupaha. When we say Purnam, I had explained the Shanti mantra Purnamadaha in great detail. Purnam does not mean the usual material Purnam, that you have a glass and you fill it with water. The glass is full. This Purnam is not like that. This Purnam, the spiritual Purnam, the Purnatva of the Atma or Brahman, it means that there is no two. It is the Advaya Purna. That means there is no limitation. If there is two, then the one will limit the other. It cannot be full. To have the ultimate fullness, it can only be the transcendental truth. There cannot be any second thing there. Even the subject and object, that is, I am the subject, I am looking into the world, which is the object. This division will not be there, because here also we are separating. One is subject, another is object. So both are limited. The object is not the subject is not the object. In this vision, that subject-object division also is not there. What is the seer, the subject, that itself is the object. The whole, there is nothing, no two at all. So our drishti, our vision is always limited by bheda buddhi. We are given to bheda buddhi. Oh, I have to look at the Atma. I am looking at the Atma. We have created the bheda. I am a small, something different from all other sadhakas, all other people, all other animals. And I am trying to look into my Atma, which is different from everything else. So how can it lead us to success? So here, this Purusha is the Purnatva. He discovers. And what else? Rukma Varnam. Rukma Varnam means, we are saying it's a golden brilliance. Rukma means gold. But here it means that it is a swaprakasha. It is not lit by anything else. So this pashyaha, this seeing, is not a dual seeing, that the subject is looking at the object, the knower is knowing the knowledge. No. This pashya is a non-dual seeing, that I is revealing itself. I is not seeing anything different from it. The I reveals itself. That is why it is Rukma Varnam, it is Swaprakasha. It does not need any other prakasha, any other consciousness to reveal it. If it is needed, if any other consciousness is revealing it, then this is not the ultimate. That which is revealing is the ultimate. What else it is? Kartaram. That means it is the karta of the whole world. Now immediately there will be lot of misconceptions. What is that? Karta means somebody is sitting away from the world and playing with the world, creating world which is different from him. No. In other places they have said he is not the karta, he is not the bhokta. Atma is neither karta nor bhokta. The whole sadhana for us is to go beyond, going beyond kartri bhoktri bhava. So, should we not be very, very discriminating in it? Kartaram. If we are thinking that the Atma, the ultimate goal for us, the Brahman or the Atma, he is the karta, then will you be able to get rid of the kartri bhava? You are going to become the same. That Sayuja Sakhaya. The other bird became the same as the discovered that I am that only. Now, if I am thinking that that bird is the karta of everything, then after getting identified with that, I will also have the kartri bhava. I will also have the bhoktri bhava. Getting into that means getting beyond the kartri bhoktri bhava. So it is not as in an initial religious concept that the God is somebody else who is playing with the world, who has created the world with some material and deciding everything. It is not that kind at all. It is the highest of scientific discovery, you can say. What is that? The causality also stops there. This idea of another God different from the world, playing with the world, is coming from the same causality, that there should be somebody who is controlling the world. No. The whole world is an appearance in the consciousness, and it is a natural play of the gunas. Guna guneshu attanta. So, this kartaram, we have to understand what is this karta. It is not a separated karta with a kartri bhava, with a kartri ego at all. It is the whole play. He is the master of the whole play, but not being affected or identified with the play at all. So many times I have sung from Shvetashvatara. न तस्य कार्यं करणं च विद्यते न तत्समश्चाभ्यधिकश्च दृश्यते परास्यर्शक्तिर्विविधैव श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रिया च न तस्य कार्यं karanam cha vidyate. He has nothing to do. Repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita also said. In one place he is saying, Upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara. Upadrashta anumanta, he is permitting everything to happen. Bharta bhokta maheshwara, he is the bhokta, he is enjoying. Bharta, he is supporting. Maheshwara, that is the great Ishvara. But in another place he will say, in 5.13, 5.14 and 15 you see, Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 14th and 15. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. See, there he said he is the karta bhokta. Here he is saying na kartritvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu. Here it is not that Prabhu does not have any kartritva or bhoktritva, but he has not created any kartritva for us also. That we are thinking that I have done this, I have done that, I have to do this, I have to do that. That is kartri. I have to enjoy this, I have to suffer this. These are all bhoktritva. Kartritva and bhoktritva always is creating tension in us. But here, Krishna is saying that it has not been created by God for anybody. He has not created our kartritva and bhoktritva. Na karma phala samyogam. Even we feel that this is my karma phala, I have done this, so I am suffering this, all this karma phala samyogam. This also has not been created by anybody at all, at least not by God. Swabhavastu pravartate. It is just by nature, it is the flow of the nature which is creating all these things. As I said, Swabhaviki jnana balakriyacha. Swabhaviki. Swabhaviki means it just happens to be. Jnana balakriyacha. It is as in Mundakumanesha in the beginning we found that what is this? Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. The whole universe is created out of tapas. And what is the kind of tapas? It is jnanamaya tapas. It is all the play in the consciousness. Jnana is the advaya jnana. That is the consciousness. So, he says that Bhagavan has not done anything. The Prabhu has not given us kartritva, bhoktritva or the karma phala sequence or anything. He is not interested in taking our papa or punya or anything at all. He doesn't look at our papa punya at all. It is we who, because of the kartri bhokti bhava, we are looking at the papa punya. If we do not have the kartri bhoktri bhava, then where is the question of papa and punya? He is not doing anything. If you do anything, then only the papa punya comes. It's a nature's play. The moment he gets relieved of the kartri bhoktri bhava, he discovers his real identity, then he doesn't have any papa or punya. Repeatedly the Upanishad will say, he goes beyond papa punya. In the next verse itself, this only. Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya. Here itself it is there. Tada vidvan. Vidvan means the knower. Punya pape vidhuya. He gets washed off. The papa and punya gets washed off from him. For him there is no papa punya, there is no karma. So, will he not be active? Yes, in the next he will say, Kriyavaneshaha Brahmavidam Varishtaha. He will be doing what kind of karma? Not motivated by the desire. The moment it is desire motivated action, desire motivated karma, it will have the kartritva and bhoktritva. So he will not have karma, if we mean that we can use the two words as we use, that karma is whenever it is desire motivated, karma is done to gain something which you do not have. Aprapta, praptabhya, these are the two things. Aprapta means you have not attained something. So you want to get into some action to get that. Or praptabhya something, you have many things to attain, you have not attained anything, many things. So you act for that. That also is the karma. So if you do not have any praptabhya or any aprapta, that means you don't want anything, you don't want to possess anything, you don't mind losing anything also. So where is the question of kartri bhoktri bhava or the papa punya there? So nadatye kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena avritam jnanam ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. The people are muhyanti. Muhyanti is coming from moha, plural, muhyanti. Even this the word was there? Muhyamanaha. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagnaha. Anishaya shochati muhyamanaha. He becomes depressed out of moha, out of delusion. Why? Because ajnanena avritam jnanam. What is the jnanam? Jnanam is my real universal identity. That is covered up by ajnana, ignorance. The cloud of ignorance has come and we are not able to see the sun. We have to just, by jnana, you have to remove the ajnana. Then the sun will become visible. You don't have to manufacture a sun to see. We are always trying to manufacture the God or the Brahman or the Atma. We are trying to manufacture, that is why we are not seeing it. We are not knowing it. We don't have to manufacture anything. It is there. It is our own real identity. We have only to remove this manufacturing tendency of our mind, the effortfulness of our mind, the greed of our mind, the kartri bhoktri bhava of our mind. We have to become natural, swabhaviki. Swabhavastu pravartate. Yada pashyah pashyate rukmavarnam.
Yada pashyah pashyate rukmavarnam.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Kartaramisham purusham brahmayonim.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya.
Niranjana paramam samyamupaiti.
Niranjana paramam samyamupaiti.
See, Brahma yonim, this is not the yoni of the womb of the Brahma. It is the Brahma eva yoni. That means he sees the Brahma yonim. What did he say in the Shvetashvatara? Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natat samasya bhyadikascha drishyate parasya asya parashaktir vividhaiva shruyate. That the Brahman itself, or you can go to the Mundakumanesha beginning, what is that? Tasyasya jnanamayam tapaha. From that the whole creation, it's a play of knowledge. It is an appearance in the knowledge and it is playing like that. That is the Brahma Yoni. It is not, repeatedly I say, it is not a parinama srishti. Parinama srishti means material creation. That means the book is there. If you burn it, it will become ash. The book is the cause and the ash is the effect. Here there is no cause and effect chain. The whole creation just appears in the consciousness, in the Atma, in the Brahman. That is the yoni. Brahma eva yoni. Yoni and Brahma, they are the same. The whole world appears in that. It is not that the Brahman is taking some material or creating. In this, no change takes place anywhere. The Brahman remains Brahman, the Atma remains Atma, on which the whole magic is taking place. Once you discover the magic, then you become tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya niranjana paramam samyam upaiti. Niranjana means all other bheda buddhi, all the klesha, everything will be cleansed by that. Because there is no division. Abheda darshanam jnanam. Paramam samyam upaiti. It is not ordinary samya. It is, as Bhagavad Gita says, he sees everywhere Atma, and Atma in him, Atma in everywhere, and he is everywhere, and everything is within him. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukhamba yadiva dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. What is that samya the yogi is seeing? Atma upamyena sarvatra. Everywhere it is his own Atma. So will he have raga dvesha? Because it is he only. He cannot have raga and dvesha for himself. There are many parallel shlokas. I will give it next day. Next week I will be here, no? Next day I will do it. Here two things are important. One is going beyond the kartri bhoktri bhava by realizing one's real nature. The other part is that in the shloka there is mahimanam, that in the second verse, yushtam yada pashyati anyamisham asya mahimanamiti vita shokaha. This vita shokaha, when does the shoka, the grief, the depression leaves one? When he sees the mahima of this other bird, that means mahima of our real self. What is that mahima? It is unchanging, imperishable, unaffected, universal, all-pervading. That is our real nature. So when we know, suppose you know that Ishvara is all-pervading, Ishvara is unaffected, he is imperishable. By that what will happen to you? We never think about this, no? Knowing that the God is all-pervading, master of everything, unaffected by everything, imperishable, by knowing God like that, what will happen to you? Nothing will happen unless you identify yourself with God. Unless this mahima becomes yours, will you become vita shokaha? You will never become. You will say that by kripa of Lord I will not have the suffering. Sometimes you will not have, sometimes you will have. Until you identify with the real identity, the universal identity, the shoka is not going to leave you. The depression is not going to leave you. This point is very important. You should think about it. That by knowing Atma or Brahman or God to be like this, like this, like this, what will happen to you? It will not become a realization. That is why Kathopanishad says, Dhatu prasadat mahimanam atmanaha. Atmanaha mahimanam pashyati. Dhatu prasadat. By the cleansing, purification of all the elements of our being, he sees the mahima of the Atma. So mahima of the Atma becomes his Atma, his mahima. That only relieves him of all the troubles. See, to know that God is unaffected, how will you know? It is just an information to you. Until you feel the unaffectedness in you, you will never know the unaffectedness of the God or Brahman, anything. Anything to know properly, you have to feel it within. It has to happen. That is why, because of lack of purity, you are not able to realize the most pure, the abheda. Why are we not able to realize? Because the mind has not become pure. It is still holding on to ragadvesha. It is holding on to blaming. It is holding on to selfishness. It is holding on to all kinds of constrictions. How can it realize the God who is ever free, all pervading everywhere? For that the mind has to become like that. Whatever inside becomes, we are only knowing that. We are not knowing anything else. By saying the God is like this, nothing is going to happen to us. Okay, we will stop. Shanti mantra. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah.
Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah.
Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah.
Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah.
Sthirairangaistuštuvamsastanubhih.
Sthirairangaistuštuvamsastanubhih.
Vyashema devahitam yadayuh.
Vyashema devahitam yadayuh.
Swasti na indro vriddhashravah.
Swasti na indro vriddhashravah.
Swasti na pusha vishvavedah.
Swasti nः पूषा विश्ववेदाः.
Swasti nastakshyo arishtanemih.
Swasti नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः.
Swasti no brihaspatirdadhatu.
स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.